Okay, this is a video on how to put a leading edge on a door. Now, I've taken a door off in my place here. There's the door. Okay, this is been hung by Thai builders that built the house. Now, I'm going to show you what a leading edge is. When you have your hinged edge there, you've got your hinges in like that, they're checked in. Alright, what a leading edge is as an exaggerated example, you're planing your door, you're always planing with a slight, that's an exaggerated mark, but a slight angle that way, away from the hinge. What the reason of that is, when you put it into the door frame, when these hinges close, they'll often bind on each other, which means it won't close properly. It'll close to, and it'll feel like it's pulling or springing. Okay, so you need always to put a leading edge on your door so that doesn't happen. If you've got doors that are doing that, it means they haven't got a leading edge on it and they're binding on the hinges, which puts more pressure on your hinges and your screws, and over time screws work their way loose and your doors fall off. So I'm going to show you now an example of this door which I've just taken off, where the leading edge actually is. So here's my square. As you can see, that leading edge on this door is actually the opposite way that it should be. That's at this end. Well, I'll show you at the other end. I'm not sure if the sunlight will show it. I don't know if you can see that, probably not because the light's not that flash. However, that is that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these hinges out, and then we'll get the planer and we'll show you how to plane that leading edge. All right, I'm just going to set the camera up here a minute just for a bit of extra footage, and I'll take the hinges off quickly now. All right. Helps to have the screwdriver in reverse when you take these off. Okay, this is my planer that I'm going to use. It's a Giant Tech. Now this is I think it's an El Cheapo Lazada planer, but it's very much similar to the Makita one I used to have back in Australia. Very much the same. Identical, except for it's not Makita and it's not blue, I reckon. I don't know what the motor's like. Anyway, I borrowed this off a friend of mine because my budget hasn't allowed me to buy more and more tools all the time, and he said he doesn't use it, so I'm just going to use it for a little while. He's happy with it. It's brand new, this planer, so let's give it a go, see how it goes. Okay, so what I do, right, that's the planer sitting flat on there. I'll tilt it that way. Now that's an exaggerated tilt. You don't need to take about maybe a millimetre off, half a mil off. So just a slight tilt. Now what you don't want to do, you don't want to be taking anything off this edge here. You just want to be taking it off that edge. Alright, so nothing off that edge, otherwise you're compromising the width of your door, which has already been hung. So just bear that in mind. You don't want to take too much off this edge, because you take too much off that edge, then you're going to get a gap in the door stop. So it's only a millimetre or so, just to get that, just to have that bind out. Okay, in this case I might have to do 2 mil because it's already a mil or a half a mil the wrong way. So here we go. that's one run through. As you can see, when you look at that, I've taken off about half. Well, see, now what I'll do, that'll probably give me the angle I want, and then I'll just flatten out the planer so that I'm running that angle through there. Right, so as you can see, if you come up closely, I've barely touched this back edge here. See, we've still got the original varnish on there. Yes, we've compromised the check out of the hinge, but we can recheck them in. There's no dramas. Okay. Okay. Now, if you look at it here, I now have the leading edge I want going the correct way. Okay, and I won't get my bind. I will show you. I didn't show you on this door where the bind was, but I've got another door to do, so I'll show you what a binding door looks like. Okay. Everybody these days, and I'm guilty myself, when I've got wooden doors, more times than not I'll use a trimmer, like a little electric trimmer, to check these hinges in. I don't have the luxury of that at the moment, so I have to resort back to the way that I was taught, and I often do that like this anyway, which is doing it by hand. And you don't want to be doing this with a blunt chisel either. You want a sharp chisel for this, because easily, if you're having to hit too hard to get that check out, you can just smash out that back edge of the door, and then you're in all sorts of bother. So this chisel wasn't actually, having said that, probably not the sharpest one. I'm going to have to get the stone out and give it some more going over. But go, a nicely checked in hinge. Now what you want to do, I should have done this before I put the hinge on, but I didn't. Get these edges and go over them with a piece of sandpaper. Take that sharp edge off. Always take your sharp edges off. Okay, so I've got to show you what a binding door looks like, just in case you're not sure. You look down there, down the jamb, all good down there, not hitting there, that's fine. Okay, come back, I'm holding this door, it doesn't have a catch, this door. So I'm holding the door closed. Now I'll just let go. See, it just springs open. So it is binding in here. In fact, yeah, it's definitely binding in there. I think they actually tried to put a leading edge on this and they've done it the wrong way around, same as the other door. So just another example, this door, close it, you look at it down where the hinges are there, you got a nice pretty even gap. There is a spot there where it looks like it might almost hit, a pretty even gap down there, but problem is there's no leading edge, so it's jamming. Right, holding the door closed here, I'm just putting pressure on it with my fingers and take my fingers off. There it is, just springs open. So you don't want your doors doing that, it's a pain in the ass. Right, so I'm going to take this door off. I'm going to plane the leading edge on it and reset the hinges, put it back on, and then I'll show you it closing without the bind. Okay, so as before, here's what you find. This is why it's binding. Okay, you see that gap? Now that's on the wrong side of the door. So they've tried to put a leading edge on, but because they are rookies, they got it wrong. They got it on the wrong side. You always put your leading edge down away from the hinge knuckle. Okay, always. And my trick, I always used to do, when I go to hang a door, before I put the hinges on, I always know which edge, and I always put a little mark like that, so I know which way the leading edge needs to go when I'm going to plane it. So here we go. I'm just going to plane this down and reset the hinges, put it back on, and then I'll show you. Okay, just while I'm at it, I'll show you. This can be now the reason why you get binding. All right, you can see how's that hinging. You see how it's reasonably flush that end. It's not perfect, but it's set down more here. You know, when you look at a hinge, when you close a hinge, you can see the hinge it's got that little gap built into it, see? So obviously, if you don't check that in correctly, like flush to the timber, you're taking away the job of the hinge. So that compounded with the leading edge being the wrong way is why this door's binding so much. Okay, so the door is back on. I'll just show you it closed from the inside. Okay, again, we don't have a catch on it. This is a different type of door, so I have to put a slide bolt on there or something if I want it to stay closed. But you see that? Take my hand away, look at that, it stays closed. Again, you probably see better from here because I got more light. Close the door, as you saw earlier, it just spring back open. Fingers off, boom, closed. Look, doesn't even open the smallest bit. Okay, so that is how you unbind a door, or should I say, when you hang a door, you do a leading edge on it to start with. You won't have that problem. Okay, I've got a couple more doors to do in this house, so I will leave you to it, and this is the Square Eyed Guru signing off.